You're listening to Parenting Our Future with certified parent coach Robin McMahon, author of The Yelling Cure and founder of Parenting for Connection. My podcast is all about providing you with the tools and solutions you need in your parenting so you can create the family you always wanted. Hi, it's Robin McMahon here. Welcome to my show, Parenting Our Future. Today, I want to talk to you about the pitfalls of praise. When I grew up, I had parents that loved to tell us how much they loved us and loved to praise us. And I thought, mistakenly, like I think a lot of parents think, that it is important to shower our kids with constant praise, right? And that praising our children really, if you think about it, it feels really instinctual. It's almost a reflex, right? That as soon as our child does something good or achieves something, it just feels natural for us to say, great job, right? But we have to think about what we're really accomplishing with all this praise. Now, praise can benefit motivation and self-esteem, but these effects aren't always lasting. And our ultimate goal should really be to nurture our child's intrinsic motivation. Now, we don't want our kids to be addicted to praise or motivated solely by external approval as much as possible, right? If there's always a carrot at the end of the stick, or there's always a little doggy treat of praise for them, then they aren't really self-motivated, right? They're just doing it for the external. It takes them away from wanting to do what's right because it feels good, right? And in fact, children should want to make an effort to perform well, to learn and grow because it's personally satisfying. Now, there's a quote that I really like that I want to share with you. And it says that when we compliment our children, praise them for their inner qualities such as kindness, honesty, and perseverance, so they will strive to contribute to the world in meaningful ways. That's by Tony Shuda, and I just love that. So I want to talk about what effective praise is, and I want to talk about some sort of do's and don'ts. So effective praise, given at the right time, can nurture intrinsic motivation, and it can help our children become confident, resilient, and self-directing, right? Our praise really needs to fall into three categories. It should be sparing, it should be specific, and it should be sincere. First, I'm going to talk about some do's and don'ts to praising your kids. So one of the things that you want to do is you want to praise process. Like focus on the process, focus on the strategies and the effort, like using your great problem-solving strategies and your problem-solving skills, and even informational feedback. So provide specific feedback on performance and even personal mastery, like focus on your child's individual performance. If you're praising your child, it should reflect on standards that can realistically be met as well. And it should be based on encouragement. So giving your child encouragement, like your room looks clean, helps to develop internal elevation. Now, what you don't want to do is person praise. So avoid ability-oriented praise, like you're very good at solving puzzles, or using praise as an as a reward. So avoid really rewarding your kids with that praise. And the thing is, and you may wonder, why would we do that? It's really because when kids can anticipate rewards, they can lose interest in doing the thing because it feels like a manipulation, right? And you definitely, when you are praising your kids, you do not want to get into some kind of comparing with somebody else. Like, you did so much better than Susie over there, right? And you also want to check in with your expectations. They shouldn't be too high. They shouldn't be too low. Like if you say, oh, great, you wrote a story, or too high, like, this is the best story I've ever read in my whole life, right? That doesn't feel exactly right, does it? And you just want to avoid focusing on judgment and I like statements like, I like how clean your room looks, versus what I said before and how to do praise, which is your room looks clean, right? There is praise in that without it being from me, an I like statement. Does that make sense? Yeah, I hope so. So stating it versus saying that it's coming from you, like I like. Okay, so let's now look at those three different areas, right? So again, I said praise should be sparing, specific, and sincere. So let's look at sparing. It's almost shocking to hear this, but too much praise can actually have a negative impact on our kids. And this is true for several reasons, because excessive praise lowers the bar for kids. Kids who are overpraised may not even push themselves to improve, right? Excessive praise can also make your child feel that your approval and your love are conditional on their performance and achievement. Too much praise can also create praise junkies who crave approval from others, and they may also come to depend on the evaluation and judgment of others rather than learning to form their own opinions and abilities. And they may feel really down and low if they don't get the praise that they were expecting. So excessive praise can also lead to excessive pressure. As children begin to rely on approval from others, they become terrified of losing that approval, right? Like I just said, and consequently, they may avoid difficult activities and become self-conscious rather than confident. Intrinsic motivation can decrease as a result of excessive praise, right? You just know I'm going to be praised anyway, so like, what does it matter? What does it matter? You know? Or you don't even mean it, right? There's so much of it, you don't even mean it. That's what it starts to sound like. Now, let's look at specific. Children are likely to doubt sweeping or general praise. So it's really important to be specific, right? Our kids perceive specific praise as more sincere and more meaningful. And look, I know it's easy to just say, hey, great job, and really mean it, but try to praise something specific that your child did. It doesn't mean that it has to be long or, you know, you have to go on and on about lots of details, but you can just say, look, I really noticed your perseverance. Wow, look at how organized you were. It took a lot of courage. Wow, you showed some real kindness there. Right? Specific praise also gives your child more useful information than general praise does, right? Because just saying good job doesn't tell your child where they did something good and how they will continue to do that thing well, right? All right, so next one is to look at sincerely praising your child. Children are more perceptive than parents or adults may realize. They often can tell the difference between sincere and insincere praise. And when children think your praise is insincere, they may assume that you feel sorry for them, that maybe you're manipulating them or you don't understand them. And if that's the case, they're going to just dismiss the praise by making it ineffective. And I remember being uncomfortable because one of my boys would have like a bad game, right? They'd be playing hockey and they'd have a bad game, or soccer or baseball. And, you know, I'm sitting there thinking, uh-oh, he's going to be upset when he comes off. And I feel the urge to say, no, you did great. You did great. And I have done that. And I've had my kids say to me, Mom, come on, that wasn't a great game. You know, like, don't, right? And it's true, they do. They don't want insincere. They don't want insincere praise. It feels fake, right? And it not just be fake, it can be damaging. Because when your child knows that he hasn't done well and is praised anyways, he's going to wonder why people feel the need to lie to him about his abilities and achievements. And he may assume that praise is being used to cover up the fact that he's incompetent or something's wrong with him, right? And additionally, you don't want to give your child this false praise because that'll make him or her think that she doesn't need to improve anything or try harder next time, right? And when we see our children do poorly, again, the instinct is to praise them in hopes that it may make them feel better. And I know that these are good intentions like I used to have, right? But they're going to backfire and they're going to make your child feel worse. So only offer sincere praise only when it's earned. You are currently listening to the Parenting Our Future podcast. I'm parent coach Robin McMahon. If you're enjoying this podcast, please share it with someone who you think might also need to hear this message. And please don't forget to subscribe, and I would be grateful if you gave me a 5-star rating on iTunes. If you'd like to connect with me, all my details are in the show notes, and for a copy of my book, go to yellingcurebook.com. Now back to the show. So it's also really important that you praise more than just achievements, right? You want to look for things in your kids like generosity and forgiveness. Maybe it's courage, integrity, accountability, kindness. That's what you want to notice in your child, right? And there's also alternatives to praise. You don't always have to praise. You can say thank you. You can ask questions. You can also say nothing. That's right. You can say nothing. What about a smile or like a thumbs up or a high five, pat on the back, a kiss on the top of the head, a little rustle of their hair? Those also can show, celebration of your child, right? Excitement for your child. And sometimes we need reminders for what to say and how to say it. So here is what I have for you. In the show notes, I have a bunch of ways to praise your child. I think there's 25 in total. Just ways to praise your child that are not focused on the external approval. Things like, way to go, you did it. Wow. Just saying wow is something that is exciting, right? And it's not just the words that you're saying, it's the smile on your face, it's the excitement that you have, right? That is what matters. That's what matters. So here's the thing though, your kids are going to try and they're going to fail. And that can be uncomfortable for us. It can be. And when things don't work out the way our kids expect, instead of wasting the energy on disappointment and frustration that our kid couldn't do what they were supposed to do or what you wanted them to do, I want you to make a conscious effort to look for qualities like, look how much you learned. Or it took a lot of courage to put yourself out there, bud. I know it didn't work out the way you wanted it to, but it took courage. Or did you notice that you didn't quit? Look at you. You didn't quit. That's incredible. That is something you should be proud of. And that's one of the things that I've learned to say, instead of I'm so proud of you to my kids, I say you should be so proud of yourself. Now, what this does is this shapes your child into an adult that isn't afraid of life's outcomes. There's going to be highs and lows. And this is also what builds resilience, right? This is celebrating the experience because the experience is where the learning and increased awareness is. And I always say, even in parenting, right? We get things wrong. Sometimes we yell, sometimes, myself included. I do the best I can, but I'm only human. And you know what? You never waste an opportunity. There was always something learned. So this is the same thing. You know what? Something didn't go right. Well, a lot of things aren't going to go right. And that's okay. What did you learn? Look at how you stuck through it. Look how you kept a positive attitude, even though it looked like it wasn't going well. Those are things that build resilience. Those are character building. Now, I always say things like grades and other measures of success are not measures of one person's worth. So if we're teaching our kids not to focus as much on grades, right, which I know is hard because as parents, we want to focus on grades, but instead focus on their courage that they sat through the class and they tried. Right? And the result is that we strengthen their inner life and we encourage them to take risks and to persevere in the struggle, right? We teach them that it's okay to have limitations, explaining that their desire to exert the effort is far more important than their ability to master something. And we show them that learning to live with their limitations with ease is far more important lesson than being attached to perfection. Isn't that powerful? Showing them to learn to live with their limitations with ease is a far more important lesson than being attached to perfection. Yes. When we teach these values, our kids become adults who aren't afraid to try new things and who are comfortable with the possibility of failure. So you can help your kids realize the abundance they already have. When you say things like, you inspire me, or you have a huge capacity for kindness, or you have so much to teach me, and I learn how to be a better person from you. Can you imagine what that would feel like if your parents talked to you like that? One of the things that I tell my kids, I just love being close to you. You know what? I just love being in the same room as you, being near you. Even if we're doing different things, I just love that you're here because you are enough. Just you, just being here is who I love. And that's what I love about you, right? So I hope that gives you some ideas on how to praise your kids and really celebrate them. Celebrate their efforts, their thoughts, their ideas. Celebrate their kindness, their gestures, not just things that are earned, things that are achieved. I hope this really helps. Check out those show notes so you can see the list of all of the things. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks for watching if you're watching on YouTube. Have a great day. Thank you for listening to this edition of my podcast, Parenting Our Future. I'm parent coach Robin McMahon, and if you're enjoying this podcast, please share it with someone who you think might also need to hear this message. And don't forget to subscribe, and if you like my work, I would be grateful if you gave me a 5-star rating. For those of you who like my content and want more, visit me at yellingcurebook.com to get your copy of my book and to find other resources to help you. Until next time, I am wishing you and your family peace and connection.